Hello everyone and welcome to my new weekly show, Ronen's Chess Week, where we are going to be covering the main events, the stories, historical events and other things of the week. It's going to be a Monday show and I'm so excited to be doing this with ICC. We've been doing lots of things in the past and I hope that we are going to do a lot of things for you, our viewers, our listener, our audience in the future, starting with this weekly Ronen's Chess Week. Well, this is quite a special week as we have 3 World Championship titles that have been decided on this week. Going back all the way to 1960, we have Mikhail Tal becoming the world champion by beating Mikhail Botvinnik in 12.5, 8.5, becoming the youngest world champion. The next day, May 9th, 1958, we have Botvinnik beating Smyslov. Smyslov beat Botvinnik in 1957 to become the world champion. The following year, Botvinnik beat Smyslov to become world champion for the second time. And still in this week, on May 12th, 1961, Botvinnik won the rematch against Mikhail Tal to win the world championship for the 3rd time. No other player has been world champion 3 times. He won it, he lost to Smyslov, he won it back, lost to Tal, and won it back. In 1963, he lost to Petrosian and decided that's it for him, one of the greatest chess giants, Botvinnik. So all of this in this week, I don't know, somehow this is when we are starting and I'm happy to start our show on such a special week. We are not over with the World Championship, finished a short week and a half ago, even tiny less, and we already have the best players in the world competing in Romania in a super tournament, the Grand Chess Tour, involving the new world champion, very new, Ding Liren, the runner-up, Ian Nepomniachtchi. That was, oh my gosh, you cannot have been any closer to be world champion than what Ian was. We have several other of the top players, Wesley Saw, several times US champion, participating in this event. Rapport, one of the strongest players in the world, that was assisting Ding Liren in the match and working with him closely for a few months. And many other of the top players. Alireza Firouzja, one of the possible world champion contenders, and many other of the top of the world. Magnus is not playing there, but don't worry, in a very short 2 weeks in Poland, there's going to be the next leg of the Grand Chess Tour event involving Magnus and Ding Liren and Wesley Saw, former Blitz world champion Maxime Lagrave from France, and many of the other top players. We are going to be here to discuss it. Let's discuss our events of the week. This is one event we are going to give it a quick look. In Sweden, different generations are playing. We have the youngest grandmaster in the world, American Mishra, 14 years old, 14 years and a few months, becoming world champion at the age of 12 years and tiny less than 5 months, if I remember correctly, 4 months and 25 days. Oh man, I mean, wow. And this is one of his first big events. He is doing awesome. He is leading the tournament together with Peter Svidler, 47 years old, many times Russia champion. Now, who can count? I believe 8 times Russia champion, one of the top players in the world who is doing great there, 47 years old. And, you know, he's not even the oldest one. We have the legendary Boris Gelfand in his 50s, not doing okay in this tournament. Really, probably looks like the worst tournament Boris has ever played. We will see how it's going, but Boris is a big, huge fighter. You cannot find bigger fighters than Boris Gelfand. Being at the top of the chess world, I would say for quarter century, 1990, 1991 till 2015, he was a very strong grandmaster. Now he's just a very strong grandmaster, not at the very top of the world, but quarter of a century. And we have young generation from India. We have Gukesh and we have Arjun. India has many other strong players. So this is really, I would say, the next generations of, they are already super, super strong players, but I would not be surprised if one of the young players in the Sweden tournament will be fighting for the World Championship sometimes within the next 5 years. Well, we will see. Let's have a look at few of the games that I've prepared for today. So this is a game between Vincent Keimer from Germany with the white pieces against Mishra. Very complicated position, but it is very much in white's favor. We can obviously see the pressure along the B file and some nasty threats. If you're asking yourself, hey, what happens if white just takes the knight? I think black can play the fancy move in this position. Queen capture bishop and discovered attack. Black is doing awesome here. So Keimer played queen e5, a great move. We are not going to dig really deeply in the complications, but I will show you the highlight. White is winning, but being lucky, nobody ever complained, and still playing some amazing moves here by Mishra. Objectively, after the logical move rook to f1, moving the rook from being under attack and attacking black's bishop on f3, this is just winning for white. The key move here, c5, attacking the queen, and after queen protecting the bishop, white is winning because black's rook on b8 is under attack. In the game, rook to d3 was played. Time trouble had to have a big factor in this. They repeated, and now bishop d1. I believe that white overlooked black's only perfect move played by Mishra, which was rook to c8. Why this is such a perfect move? It is fighting against king c1 by white. Absolutely perfect move. Amazingly enough, seriously amazingly enough, but again, not easy for a human, not easy when you're on move 30 without much time. King c1 was the best move. Great complications. Black should be okay. Queen c7, checkmate on the back rank. And here again, Mishra played the best move, the best, and just won the game. After rook e8, it turns out that white king is weaker. Rook to d2 was played now. Capturing the pawn was probably black's best choice. The game continued this way and black ended up winning. Huge fight, absolutely huge fight. And a great victory for the youngest grandmaster in the world. We'll see how this tournament goes. Sometimes such tournament gets you to a different level. Let's see how this one goes. There was another big game in this tournament, another one by Mishra. I'm going to give respect to the youngest grandmaster in the world who is sharing the lead in this tournament. 3 points out of 4 together with Peter Svidler. We will follow this tournament. Obviously by next Monday we will have an outcome of this tournament and we will show the highlights. The next game also Mishra was playing white against Van Foist, winner of the very big Tata Steel tournament in the past, one of the greatest sensation, one of the top players from the Netherlands. Let's have a look. Mishra has been playing for the white pieces. Really complicated, really bizarre game, right? I mean, look at black's king in the center. Look at all the pawns. Look at the open h-file against white's king. I think at some point this was quite good for black, but very complicated, so not really easy to mention. And here, a very strong grandmaster, Jordan Van Foist, played b5. Now, one thing we should know. When the kings are involved, opening access path to the king is the key way to attack. And this is why this move b5 cannot be correct for black. Now, obviously Van Foyst is a really strong grandmaster, but that was a big mistake. Because all white did was open the position. Ah man, that was fatal. Capture on b5, now the rook is open, capture. So, in 2 moves, look what happened. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is too much for black to handle. And white kept on opening the game. Open. So everything is open. Remember, this is a theme we are going to see, and this is a big important theme. You want to attack, open files, and ended up winning the game in a, well, very straightforward style. You win material, and black's king is still under great deal of pressure, and white ended up winning this one quite quickly. Alright, so it's very impressive games. The outcome more than some of the parts there, but still it is a 14-year-old kid, right? I'm being as old as I am, I can still say a kid, right? He is a kid playing against the best players. Vincent Keimer, one of the most promising young players in the world, had some great scores recently. Van Foyst the same. And okay, we will see how this tournament is going, and if the goddess of luck is going to keep looking at Mishra, plus some great moves that he played, maybe he's going to do an amazing sensation and win this one. Alright, going all the way to our top of the world players in Romania. Ding Liren, the very new world champion, I really think, taking a 2 months, 3 months off would have been a better thing for him. My thinking, relax, enjoy, but both him and Ian are playing, so bravo to them for keeping us engaged. Ding had 2 draws, he didn't really do much, but Ian, I think after that shock of being so close to the World Championship title, I think he's playing very free, very enjoyable. I think he's going to do great there. Because, all the pressure is gone. Okay, let me just play. I don't want to remember that tournament. Let's start with one very cool opening nuance in his game. So we are joining this game from round 2, right? There've only been 2 rounds played, and we're going to closely follow this tournament. When Ian Nepomniachtchi, World Championship runner-up, is playing against, again, another young player, 20 years old, 21 years old, from Romania, local, Bogdan Daniel Dick, one of the most promising young players out there in Europe. Already very strong grandmaster. This is somewhat a new position. We are not going to discuss much theory, but some of the best players in the world have played. This is a bit new territory. So Nepo took on c3. Well, if the pawn capture, okay, black can either go bishop e6 and then decide to take on a3, or maybe immediately take. White played queen takes c3. Of course, white has prepared for it. The normal continuation might be capture, and bishop take the pawn on a3. Obviously, complicated position, the game is on. Can you spot a tactic used by Nepomniachtchi? I have to be very straightforward. It is not winning for black, and obviously white has expected that. But still, and we are going to do it on a routinely way. Whenever there will be interesting tactics, your turn to think. So why don't you pause for a bit, and what interesting move you can find for black. Alright, if you paused and you're back and you suggested bishop before, then you just played like Ian Nepomniachtchi. Forcing move. If the rook takes the queen, we have check. and then capture the rook. And, whoops, I skipped quite a bit. And as the game continued, pawn takes bishop. Okay, of course, white has compensation. White has the bishop pair and a pawn. Black is tiny up material, right? A rook for a bishop and a pawn, but white is very active. But Nepo played absolutely superb chess and won this one in a very, very, very impressive way. The other key outcome was a win by Wesley So, US champion, that beat US champion quite a few times, that beat Alireza Firouzja, one of the most promising players in the world, number 3, 4 in the world, that is really into fashion. So bravo for Alireza, that is really, really into being a fashion designer. But I'm not certain, when you can really have good chances to try and fight for the world championship. Maybe you can leave Ralph Lauren and Yves Saint Laurent and Armani a bit, but we will see what Alireza comes up with his fashion designs. So we are going to keep a close eye on both of those tournaments. Personally, I'm very interested to see how Mishra is going to do, and that's why we spent most of our first weekly recap looking at the youngest grandmaster in the world. By next Monday, we will see how his tournament ended, how the tournament with best players in the world is progressing, and shortly after that, we're going to have the best player in the world, Magnus, live in action in Poland, but that's going to be 2 weeks from today. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you're going to like it, and I hope we can do many more of those together. Bye bye, stay safe, and enjoy chess.